I just had a good cry over something really unexpected, but it really cracked something deep. It cracked open something deep. I was tagged in a video of a mime at some place, I don't know, SeaWorld, the zoo, and he's coming up to people, and I've added this to my repost, so go watch it. But he's coming up to couples, and he's stopping them, and there's the women, and most of them are carrying backpacks, carrying babies, pushing strollers, some combination of all of the above, and he's stopping them, and he's putting the backpacks on the men who are just walking unencumbered. They're not carrying a child, they're not carrying a bag, they're just unencumbered. And he's stopping them, and he's putting the load on the men. Oh, God, you can see how deeply emotional this makes me, both as a woman, a mother, who's done the literal heavy lifting of parenthood. Now, this is not a critique against men, especially not my husband, who is a phenomenal parent. In fact, he was the full-time parent for a while when our kids were little. He potty trained all three of our kids, including our twins. But this really touched on two different things. We talk a lot about the emotional labor of women, and it is immense. And if you haven't had your awakening around that, I invite you to look into it. That's heartbreaking and liberating. And I've talked about it before here too, how women carry the emotional load, the mental load, the emotional labor that we do. We soothe everyone's pain. We mitigate every mood. We manage, we plan, we track, we do all the things in here. But the physical load of women is so immense. Not only because our bodies carry these precious babies. I have chronic pain to this day because of the damage that was done from carrying twins on my small 5'2" frame. And then for years I'd call myself Mommy Sherpa because going in and out of the car, I'm carrying everyone's everything. Especially as a 3-year-old is having a fit or a 5-year-old is refusing to do this, where they just forget. I'm coming into the house arms full, carrying everything. And this is just what women do. We just do it. Because in our society, and this is the second thing, the big thing that I'm crying about, our society has it so wrong. We have it so wrong in so many different ways. The things we're taught to prioritize, the behaviors we value, the traits, the patterns, the relationship dynamics. Women as mothers are so sacred. We are a literal portal. We birth human life into this world. But the minute that baby is born, at least in my experience, and I know so many other women, the minute that baby is born, everyone disappears. And you're left alone to figure it out. And that crushing burden, it gets easier in some ways. In a lot of ways it does, but that crushing burden never leaves. And so to see this mime just literally silently, but in a silly yet serious way, he rewrites the balance. He shares the load. Why is this not the default? Why? And I could give you all the historical, sociological, and the fucking religious reasons why these old ideas of male supremacy are perpetuated blindly and in many ways forcefully and violently. But these ways don't just hurt women, they hurt men, and they hurt all of society as a result. When men are excused from roles that are deemed feminine, such as child rearing, you are locked out of your own emotional processes. When our society calls anything emotional feminine and something to be denigrated and mocked, oh, you're hormonal, don't be so emotional, it locks men away from their emotions, their feelings, and thus their healthy ability to process them. And thus the stereotypes, the gender roles, the imbalances are perpetuated upon every generation. And I cried watching this video, both for how hard it was for me all these years to even be able to identify why it was so hard. I didn't have the language, I didn't have the understanding, and I didn't have the support in my inner and outer circle to help me figure out what was so wrong. It took me so long to figure it out, and then to have these conversations with my husband, and then for us to be able to redistribute the load. We do that beautifully now, but there's still so much pain for all those years of struggle. But then on top of it, you know, what we're dealing with right now, and what I've been talking about, Claire, since last year, is this wave of divine feminine rising, and how, yes, it's feminine energy, but it's also about accessing our feminine divinity in ways that our culture cannot even fathom. There's no space for what is possible when a woman is fully in her power. We don't even have a reference for that. And it's because it's been vilified for centuries. You know, whenever I do get bogged down by the state of the world, it's really not in politics, because I understand all the forces fighting back, and I understand all the major things at play. I have the big picture. But when I think about the work of helping raise the divine feminine back to prominence, you know, I have lifetime after lifetime of coming here as a female, as a mystic, as a priestess, a witch, a healer, a shaman. I have all these memories of coming here in these lives, and I feel the weight of the centuries that I have lived here on earth in the imbalance. But I also know the promise of those lifetimes where I was in a society that valued the mystical contribution of divine feminine wisdom and power. I remember what it felt like to be protected, to be so protected and safe and cared for, that I could flourish, and my power and my ability and my divine love was immense. And you know, for all the right-wing talk of being the provider, the men are the provider, the men are the... I don't see it. Not in right-wing men. But that doesn't mean I don't see it at all. I am seeing it. I am experiencing it. I have that kind of partnership where I am safe and I'm cared for. And because of that, I'm flourishing. But damn if it isn't hard. It's a hard world. It's a hard world to have to fight and push just to make space to exist. So, you know, activists always have their particular thing, that one thing that they really care about above all. And I am a social justice warrior through and through, and I will fight for people who are experiencing things that I never will due to my privilege. But my personal deep passion is this, is making it safe for women, for femmes, for all people to experience the magic of their divine feminine, to be safe, to be protected, so that we can flourish and thrive. That's the reality I'm here for. That's what I incarnated for. That's what I'm here doing as a psychic, a healer, a priestess, as a freaking TikTok content creator. That's the world I'm creating. For me, that's the goal. And that is where I will ensure that we go together.